In this video, we're going to address Brad's question. Brad recently ordered a project file from our website down here, and he has a question. Might you know a method for creating trace-to relationships between elements across table columns, i.e. the elements in one column trace to the elements in another column on the same row? So we're going to bring up a BDD with a bunch of random elements, specifically blocks and requirements, with these trace relationships that he's speaking of. So what we've got here in our block table, we've got the trace from source to target and trace from target to source, and this is capturing the relationships, the trace relationships from this diagram. So if we're looking at this first row, there's the target to source A prime to A. So A prime to A, that is that relationship right there. So what we can do is actually go in here and add a new relationship if we wanted to. So let's add a relationship between component L and let's do Z. So we're adding the trace relationship just like that. So we've added a new relationship. Now it doesn't automatically show up, but it does actually exist. So if I right click both of the properties and go to display in between paths, now you'll see that that trace relationship is uncovered. And I can just click that to make it straight. If I go here and remove the relationship, you'll see that it will remove when I click OK. Now it is gone. So that's how to add trace relationships from within the block table. You can also create a requirements table as well, which is the same as the block table, except for you would just drag in the requirement as the element type instead of the block. And that's what you would see here. So now this is all the relationships between the requirements X, Y, and Z to the blocks. The way that we created these columns is just going to create a custom column. I went down to trace within simple navigation and went to source to target, and then I just named that column trace source to target, as you see up here. So the other one is exactly the same, except for it is target to source. So I just switched the direction, or switched the drop down here. We can also go down to matrices, and I can create a special matrix that is just a generic dependency matrix, and then I can pull in blocks and requirements to be shown on both the X and Y axes. I can make my dependency criteria, or the arrow is going to be the trace relationship that you see here. And then this table automatically populates. I'm just scoping it to this package so that we're capturing all of these relationships here. And if this seems a little bit too cluttered, I can just show row to column, and now we're seeing all the relationships from row to column. So if we're looking at this guy right here, it's from A prime to A. So from A prime to A, it's talking about that relationship. You can also go in and add a bunch of relationships very quickly. So I just created a bunch of trace relationships between L and all the other blocks. So I can select all my blocks here and go to display in between paths, and now you'll see all of the new relationships that were uncovered because I made all these relationships. So I can go back in here and delete all those relationships, and when I click select, it now has been removed from the diagram. Now I'll show how the table and the matrix correspond. So if I make a relationship between K and J, you see the K and J. So if I remove this relationship here, it goes away, and now this cell is gone. Additionally, if I go and add my K value, component K, click OK, see it's been added, and then this relationship has been re-added. So once one changes, the other one changes. It's because the relationship is under the hood, it is captured within the model, and these tables and matrices are just views of the model. Next, I'll show how to add some new custom columns using the Metachain. So we originally made the first two columns using the simple navigation, but what you can do is go here and then look for trace, and you have the trace from relationship, and that will show you the actual same thing as this trace target to source. So I can just name it the same thing. I'll name it traced from, just like that. Another thing that you can do is look into your specification of one of your blocks, scroll down. Here's that trace relationships, so I can go to supplier dependency. So I'll do that. New custom column, go to Metachain. I'll type in supplier dependency, and now I'll see that trace relationship right here, all the trace relationships that exist. So this is the relationship itself and not the target. So if I want to, I can either pick target or source. So if I want to show A prime, then I would go to source, and if I want to show just A, I could go to target. So what I'll do, edit custom column, and then edit copy whole, and we'll make a new one. This essentially makes this the starting point. So new custom column, edit paste hole, and now we're going to start with essentially this trace relationship, and it just says dependency, so I'm going to be more specific and say that we're looking for the trace, and then I can look for target, just like that. And so supplier dependency target, and now you're seeing A, you're actually seeing the same element that you started with, which is not super helpful. So I would suggest having the one that is instead of target, the supplier. So we'll go to edit custom column, copy whole, new custom column, paste hole, and so instead of target, we're going to do supplier, and I'll name that supplier dependency supplier. Okay, that's not exactly what I intended, so we're just going to troubleshoot together here. So I'm going to make a new, or actually I'm going to look into this trace relationship. So I want this trace relationship to eventually get me from A to A prime. So if I go to specification of the trace relationship, I'm going to look for, okay, it was supposed to be client. That's because that's our A prime that we want to see. So if I change this to client, there we go. So now we're seeing that A prime as well. So there's lots of different ways to get to the same thing. I definitely think that for this case, the simple navigation is the way to go. But I did show you some other metachains to potentially get you to the same place that might help you understand metachains a little bit better. So thanks for watching the video. We will post this project file up on our website so you can download it, and yeah, leave comments as you can. Thank you.